Okay, now we are going to learn something that will make our lives a little bit easier. But before we start, I just want you to take a look at that problem down on the bottom of the screen and pause this video and work it on your own to make sure that you've got the steps for solving equations down well. Okay, first thing we're going to do is clear the parentheses, and boy, are there a lot of parentheses to clear. You'll notice on the left we have both parentheses and brackets. We're going to start clearing those and we'll just work from the inside out. So the first thing we'll do is take 3 and distribute it to the 2x minus 4. And then we'll take minus 4 and distribute it to the x plus 1. So we have 2 on the outside, that part stays the same. Then 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times minus 4 is minus 12. Minus 4 times x is minus 4x. And minus 4 times 1 is negative 4. On the right-hand side, we have 5 times 2x is 10x. And then don't forget to distribute that negative. That's the easiest thing to do, but the most common place to make a mistake. Okay, next we will combine like terms where we can. So 6x minus 4x will leave me with 2x inside those brackets. And then negative 12 and negative 4 will give me negative 16. And on the other side, my 10x minus 6x will give me 4x. Okay, I've got one more set of parentheses, really brackets, to clear. So I distribute that 2. 2 times 2x is 4x, and 2 times negative 16 is negative 32. Okay, now I'm going to get all my variables on one side. So what I do on one side of the problem, I have to do on the other. I subtract 4x from both sides, and I get negative 32 equals 1. Now wait a minute, what happened to all my x's? Should I just keep one on the left and say 4x minus 4x is x or something? No, we can't do that. If my x's are gone, my x's are gone. If all my x's disappear when I'm in the middle of solving, then I either have an identity or a contradiction. Since negative 32 doesn't equal 1, I got something that's false. This is a contradiction, and my answer is no solution, or the empty set. All right, let's say that we're going to solve this. Now, I know it looks really horrible right now, and it is somewhat horrible. It's okay. But I'm going to show you an easier way to do it later, so let's just bear with it right now. First thing we want to do is get all variables on one side, even if they're bad looking. So I subtract 1/2 x from both sides, and I have 1/4 x minus 1/2 x minus 5/6 on the left, and just 13/6 left on the right. Okay, instead of 1/2, I rewrote that as 2/4 because I do need to get a common denominator. So now I can combine the like terms. I have 1/4 x minus 2/4 x. That would give me minus 1/4 x. Minus 5/6 equals 13/6. Now I need to get all numbers to the other side, so I add 5/6 to both sides. And this one's not quite as bad because they already have the same denominator. So I have negative 1/4 x equals 18/6. Multiply both sides by negative 4. And we have x equals negative 72/6 or negative 12. So that's a pretty nice answer for a pretty bad problem. Okay, what if I told you, for no apparent reason, to just go back to the original problem and multiply both sides by 12? Well, 12 times 1/4 x, that's going to give me 3x. 12 times 5/6, well, that's going to give me negative 10. 12 times 1/2 x is 6x, and 12 times 13/6 is 26. Oh, that looks so much better. Okay, which one would you rather solve? The 1/4 x minus 5/6 equals 1/2 x plus 13/6? Or 3x minus 10 equals 6x plus 26? Obviously the second one. And we know they have the same answer because we just multiplied both sides by the same number. That's our multiplicative property of equality. So we'd rather solve that one. Yes, they have the same solution set because of the multiplicative property of equality. How did I know to multiply by 12? Let's look at all the fractions in there. The denominators of those fractions were 4 and 6 and 2 and 6. I just multiplied by the least common denominator. So my rule for clearing fractions is to multiply both sides by the least common denominator. So here are my steps for solving equations, and this time I don't have a mystery step. So I'm going to simplify each side, and my first step in simplifying each side will be to clear any fractions or decimals that I have. Then I'll clear parentheses, then I'll combine like terms. So let's look at 1/9 p minus 5/18 equals 1/6 p plus 1/3. Okay, the first thing I want to do is clear those fractions, and the thing I know to multiply by is 18 because that is the least common denominator of 9, 18, 6, and 3. So I multiply both sides by 18. You don't have to put that second step in. You can just go straight through and do the distribution. It's only in here in case it helps some people. So 18 times 1/9. Well, that's 2. So I have 2p for my first term. 18 times 5/18. My 18ths will just cancel and I'll have 5. 18 times 1/6. Now that's like 18 over 1 times 1 over 6. 6 goes into 18 3 times, so that's 3p. And then 18 times 1/3. 3 goes into 18 6 times, so I have the 6 on the end. That is a heck of a lot easier to solve. I want to get variables on one side, so I subtract 3p from both sides. I want to get numbers on the other, so I add 5 to both sides. Now am I done? I'm close to done. I don't care what negative p equals, I want to know what p equals, so I have to multiply both sides by -1, and I get p equals -11. Okay, our next, and there's the check. Oh, you can pause it to take a look at it. It's actually not as bad as you might think in terms of getting common denominators, and it works out really well. Okay, our next problem, again, here's our steps. Okay, the two denominators I have are 2 and 5, so my least common denominator is 10. Now the trick on this, and there is a trick, you multiply both sides by the 10. Everybody remembers to multiply those first two fractions by 10, but a lot of people forget to multiply that lonely little 1 over on the right-hand side. They forget to multiply him by 10. So you have to multiply everything by 10. We have to keep those balance scales balanced. Okay, 10 times the first fraction and 10 times the second fraction. So 10 times the first one, 2 goes into 10 5 times, and 5 goes into 10 2 times. So we could simplify it to this before we multiply through. It makes things a little easier. Then we clear my parentheses. So I have 25y minus 5 minus 2y minus 8 equals 10. Okay, next I want to combine like terms. So I have 23y minus 13 equals 10. Add 13 to both sides. 23y equals 23. Divide by 23 and I get y equals 1. The check isn't as bad as it looks, and that is how you clear fractions. The next segment will be on clearing decimals.